Peace and blessings, y'all. I am back with another Freakend Friday reading. Let's just tune in and see what's going on with the collective. I'm sorry I haven't been back to do, well, I'm not sorry, because I needed like some time for my mental health and stuff. But it kept being on my to-do list, and then I was like, yeah, no, my energy and my head is not in a good space to just be talking to everybody's spirits right now. But I am back in commission. You can also book me for an oracular divination. That has moved to my services page, just FYI. It's no longer in the shop. Now there's like a scheduling system and stuff, which takes some stress off of me. And yeah. Also, if you missed the announcement about it, I have scheduled or have reached out to schedule 7 of the 13 sponsored reparations divinations, as I'm calling them now. And they will be... I will be... my pronouns are they, them, but we don't need to start referring to me in the third person right now. I will be reaching out to schedule 6 more. Oh, no. There's 5 more. But I'm going to get through these first 7 and then reach out to schedule the next ones, just so my calendar doesn't become too full. And, you know, if people want to purchase reparations, there's still some room to do that on the schedule. Okay, let's... This is actually a combination of my Fuck Fear Aura Spray and some Kananga water to level the vibe a little bit. Okay, let's get into it. Oh yeah, I'm Kris, the Spiritual Abolitionist. Welcome to the Freakend Friday Collective channeling with my Oracle deck, the Spiritual Abolitionist Oracle deck, available in the shop. I know. Okay, let's see. Getting right to the point. Okay. All right, so what we had come out for us today, first we have the Sky Key. I'm gonna just read each card individually and tell you what each key means, and then I'm going to like expound on each key, then I'll start talking about what it means all together if you've never like witnessed a channeling with me before. The Sky Key indicates that your emotions are clouding your judgment and causing you to think small. Remember, the personal is universal. Look to your starseed origins and your multidimensional guides. You soul simulated your solutions to karmic lessons before you actually incarnated. Your task is to look to the key to remember who you are and what steps you mapped out for yourself. Once connected to this aspect of yourself, you'll see certain illusions for what they are. Babylonian attempts to drive your energy from achieving your destiny. Look to the sky to help you remember. Okay, and especially for those of us who are radical, who are leftists, who are abolitionists, it's like just so difficult with the amount of just rage you have to deal with, you know, the amount of alienation and just folks not being on your level of thinking, like having to be in the matrix and have these beliefs on the inside a lot of the times, you know, it can be a lot. So I can't even fault you for this, but what I'm feeling is almost too much of your subconscious, just like, I want to burn all this shit down energy, to a point where you might be burning down cornfields that are meant for you are specifically the words I just heard, which is interesting. But yeah, so if you have something that like you're just being consistently angry about right now, because anger is like the emotion that I'm feeling here, and it's really distracting. It's something in your personal life that's at the source of it. So stop projecting it onto your politics right now, because it's got you wasting a lot of energy, like wanting to argue with folks. You're arguing with folks in your head when you're by yourself, and then wondering why you feel so drained and shit like that. Damn. Or the other thing that I'm feeling is that like there's just some kind of personal projection. Like there's something going on in your personal life, and it does have something to do with like a deeper universal lesson. So maybe you dreamed about the solution. You dreamed about what the ultimate lesson is that you need to like grow through in your personal life, but it's just affecting your ability to be emotionally balanced, to cope with your emotions, to be well, to be emotionally, mentally, and spiritually well as you do liberation work. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of bullshitters in these streets. There's no fronting about that, you know, and there's a lot of bullshit going on in these streets right now. But if you're not showing up for yourself, you're not even in a position to show up for other people. So there's some kind of like soul lesson that you really need to master, but you've shown yourself how to master it. And cornfields that were meant for you, I feel like that rolls kind of well, because this is obviously about like more cosmic stuff, right? And like the Easter eggs that your higher self has left for you to help you navigate this life. This one now, ordained, is talking more about earthly stuff, right? And so what's ordained for you, no one can take from you. So even though part of you does feel like the solution is literally just to burn everything down today, I don't know, there's just something that you're meant to be building, and so much of your focus is not supposed to be on burning stuff down. Like some of y'all are so far into a warrior energy, you're not in balance with the other parts of you, with the healer in you, with the diplomat in you, with the magician in you, with the trickster in you, because tricksters lean into their wits. And it's like, you're smarter than these people. Like, you're smarter than the system. That's why you landed at certain beliefs. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, your ancestors, like, you have legacy work to be doing right now. And that requires reaching to your ancestors. This is just free channel at this point. I'll get to this in a second. So that requires reaching back to your ancestors from before colonization. And you don't have to do a DNA ancestry test to do that. You literally, all you have to do is ask the universe and ask your ancestors to let you know who they are, and that information will reveal itself to you. You will feel it when you come across the information on who your ancestors were from before colonization. And you'll feel like an inherent resonance when you come across information that's true and that's valid about them, because that's another thing. You can't really just trust everything the Academy has to say. If you're Black, about Black people. If you're Indigenous, definitely not about Indigenous folks either. But yeah, like, even on a personal level with me, I go back and forth a lot about like having to like run a small business on this platform just like to exist, right? But also so that I can be enabled to do community work and stuff. And at one point my ancestors had to tell me, like, you know, white people didn't invent commerce, right? Like, and they were just like, you know, this is like a legacy that we're leaving you, right? You know, like that commerce predates capitalism, and like black folks like ran it. Like, and so yeah. So with the ordained key now, tying that back in here, the ordained key is here to remind you that what is ordained for you, no one can take from you. Whether a current situation has left you feeling like someone walked away with what is rightfully yours, or the wounds of a past situation are resurfacing, clouding your judgment, causing you not to put some stuff together. It's important that you remember the divine has a pathway to the abundance that is your birthright, and no one can walk it but you. It is your divine right to create the ideal world for yourself on earth, and nothing anyone else says or does can prevent you from manifesting that reality except your own self-defeating thoughts. So claim your abundance and do the healing work to transmute the pain of old losses into power. Your path is still ordained for you, beloved. Move assured of this fact. Okay, yeah. So what is the ideal? What would you ideally like to be doing to provide for yourself? And why do you keep like shooting it down in your mind? Like the self-defeating thoughts thing is what's popping out to me right now. Which it would make sense why, you know, you would keep going back and forth with folks and stuff like that, and kind of like projecting into your personal relationships and stuff like that, if deep down inside some part of you is mad at you for not living like the kind of life that you feel like you're supposed to be living. I mean, okay. Yeah. And you have to, if you've never thought about what that might be for you before, because some of y'all, it's like what you're meant to do does not exist yet. Just like the Spiritual Abolitionist, like just like this platform, even with this deck, the fact that like a black non-binary oracle deck did not exist, and so I made one, you know. And not even to make this like about me. I think that was just like spirit trying to remind me, because this is partially for me as well. Like even you. Which is to say, like, you can disregard that. But one second. They're not done. Doesn't exist yet. But it exists in your dreams. Okay. If you've been dream journaling, you need to take some time to reflect on that dream journaling. Go back through your dream journal, and I mean like from a couple years ago possibly. And start looking to see if it wasn't showing you things that are going on in your life now and how you can handle them. But also asking your ancestors to show you and reveal to you who they are. So what's going to have to happen for you to really connect with those ancestors so that you can figure out what kind of a legacy they've constructed for you in the ancestral realm, and they're trying to connect you to on earth right now? You got to unplug. You got to unplug, because you got to understand that like so much of our realities is being crafted by the emotional manipulation that goes into these apps, these algorithms, like all this bullshit. And it fucks with our mental wellness. We start looking for an escape in it, but we're really trying to escape from it a lot of the times. And we can lose touch with seeing where spirit is trying to show up in our non-online lives, and are off our phones and off our computers and away from our screen lives a lot of the time. So yeah, you need some screen-free time to just be. Maybe go for a hike, you know. But the unplug key is just as it says, unplug from the matrix. If this key emerges, then the web of screens and energy consumption has worn you thin. And that's another thing. If you sit and watch readings all day, you're just consuming that kind of energy all day, and that can just burn you out and drain you. You know, this is also why cross-watching like people's videos to try to see what other folks are up to and stuff like that is a waste of your energy, in my opinion. You can drain yourself by consuming too much of that stuff, even when it comes to these collective channelings, you know. And yeah, so, and it's time to restructure your life with some time as screen free as you can be on a regular basis. Your inner voice won't be coming to you through posts and scrolling at this time, and you need to take stock of your offline relationships to determine whether you're seeking something from your whole friends list that's truly found in connecting with close friends. Remember, limiting access to your business is a form of spiritual protection, and you never know who lurks on you online just to send energy that throws you off your square. Tighten up and ground in your world, not the online world, for clarity. Yeah, so the lurkers bit jumped out, and there's a lot of projection. Going back to the beginning, like in Leo season, people kind of started to see like the degree to which Leo energy is just a fixed fire is emotional intensity. Like fire really does represent poles of emotional intensity. That's why you'll see so much conflicting Leo content. Like Leos are super generous, Leos are super duper self-absorbed, both and, you know. The truth is, like, that sun energy just shines light on everything. And I mean, oh, hang on a second. Yeah. This particular Leo season really just shined light on a lot of repressed emotions. And so a lot of folks have been really out of control of themselves, you know? And on that note, it's been coming to me very strongly lately. Just avoid conflict where you can. Healthy conflict in your relational settings, address that. But popping off every single time something upsets you, don't do that. Because a good bit of that is just coming from something going on inside you, B. And you gotta address that. And the other thing is that some of y'all are struggling to hear your ancestors right now. And it's literally because of the amount of vibrations and things just coming from these devices. And that's apart from the fact that, like, you might just get on your story to vent about something and not realize that, like, one of these 15 people who watches your story does not like you and is just looking for something to project their repressed emotions that have been coming up at. And in Virgo season, now that we've shifted into Virgo season, what can happen with that emotional intense energy is just this intellectualizing and like intellectual fixation on it. So yeah, just take some time to ground. I'm not even saying that like you have to just like disconnect all the time or anything, but have some self-care time set aside where you're like, I'm putting away all my screens. I'm just going to take some time to be with myself, to hear my higher self, to hear my spirit, to feel what I feel like without all of that web of information and energy coming at me. To feel who I am without all that overstimulation, to take some deep fucking breaths. Put your feet in the grass and take some deep fucking breaths. Like, you would be surprised how much that can just like shift your whole mood. And yeah, I'm not even saying that in a sense of like emotionally bypassing or anything, but like you gotta find healthy ways to cope and healthy outlets, you know? That's just a means of like personal survival. We're not made to just have our bodies in survival mode and at these extremes all the time. And being too stimulated in that way and not having a balance of peace I've watched it. It burns out activists. It burned me out back in the day. That's how I got into spiritual work in the first place, was trying to heal my damn self. And that's why I take like spiritual and emotional wellness so seriously as a part of liberation work, because liberation work is not sustainable when we are all like on negative fucking 12, just from the amount of secondhand trauma that we're experiencing doing this work, the amount of firsthand trauma that we experience as Black queer folks in the fucking matrix. Like, you know, you have to have some time for yourself, like, and you have to advocate for yourself. This world is not like how. Let me go ahead and clear this energy, because y'all know what I'm saying. Let me clear this energy and move on to infinity. And this is what I was looking at when the thing about reaching back and figuring out who your ancestors were before colonization, figuring out what spirits they were connected to, figuring out what their Sabbath day was and honoring their Sabbath day, making that be your do nothing day. Yeah, so it's the infinity key that came out for that. I remember making this, and like when the shape started coming through my hands, it was like I tranced out when I was making the infinity key, actually. The infinity key has arrived to remind you that your guides always have more than one way of communicating with you. In fact, there are an infinite number of ways our guides subtly answer our questions in our lives every day. We just get so caught up in the seemingly mundane that we neglect to decode their mysteries. Pay attention to the colors, numbers, and animal totems and omens guiding you at every step. You'll find an infinite supply of instructions from your spiritual court. So yeah, and I think this goes along with the unplug and the ordained. Like, honestly, I feel like this whole message is like, tune into all these dimensions of you right now, you know? Like, tune in to how many different ways your ancestors are speaking to you and answering your questions in real time, G. I'm going to keep it a buck. Like, a lot of the times when we sit down for divinations, when I sit down for divinations with people, the thing that lets me know I'm on track is how often it's like I speak something that just confirms something that's been going on in the back of somebody's head. And that's you hearing things from your ancestors. But you got to take the time to recognize that that's what that is in your head. You know what I mean? You get the confirmation from somebody like me because I talk to spirits on the regular. So I differentiate stuff like that on the regular, you know? But it should bring you closer to your own inner knowing. Yeah, and unplug just because there's a lot going on, and especially for Black people, like, please just take care of your mental health and don't be out there on zero. I watched this thing, or I saw this post the other day that bothered me from one of these like decolonization pages that I follow. And it basically said like, we need stronger liberation workers who don't take breaks because they can't handle like consuming stuff or whatever. So I'm a pretty big believer that there's an abundance of us, just abundance mindset thinking. And if I don't feel well enough to show up, then I know the universe has somebody else who feels well enough to show up. Like, I don't believe in that martyr yourself mentality, and I believe that that's a Babylonian, like an op tactic that's been a legacy in a lot of organizing work that causes a lot of Black people to put their bodies on the line outside of their jobs, outside of whatever the fuck they're doing, in their free time, putting their bodies on the line to be traumatized, to have people consume that trauma so that some of these big ass organizations can have their leadership getting paid and doing press, but they're not planning on doing anything for us. Nothing meaningful, nothing radical, nothing of substance, just diverting funds and resources away from the radical folks of substance. Whew. Let me come back. I'm just really passionate about this. I'm really, really passionate about this. And I'm passionate about the fact that our ancestors are trying to disrupt this cycle and help us shift to things that are actually productive for just developing new ways to build and develop community, developing new systems, you know, and getting in touch with our inner knowing and with the things that our soul knows about what we're here to do. Spirit knows what we're here to do. You know what I mean? Our ancestors gifted us with so many talents, you know. They gifted us with so many skills. They gifted us with so much inherent wisdom just in our bodies. And for a lot of us, it's like they're gifting us with the space to feel our feelings and heal because they didn't get a chance to do that. And that is your legacy, you know, is interrupting that cycle. So if you're wondering why you feel like you can't just repress your feelings right now, that is why. You know, that's a part of this legacy work, and it's part of helping you work through and move past and cope with your emotions instead of having them run your mind, you know, so that you can be more in tune with the infinite number of ways that your ancestors are communing with you. Yeah. And anybody who's ever done a divination with me knows that, like, one thing that we're always going to get into is what you need to be doing to stay in contact with your spirits moving forward. Y'all know that's what I'm about. I'm not about, like, having to be a gatekeeper between you and your ancestors. I'm just here to help what we're when y'all have trouble with it, you know? Okay, is there anything else? I'm going to have a little water break. All right, loves, I think that's everything. Thank you so much to everybody who watched this, and I will be moving my Freakend Friday readings to a YouTube channel. I'll be starting a YouTube channel where I can do a lot of different collective readings. I also want to just like do more opinion piece type stuff. Just about organizing and liberation work and like a spiritual wellness side of it. And just some creative content. Like I have a lot of videos of my art processes and playing my Nina, my djembe Nina, just like art medicine and stuff like that. Anywho, basically I've just been building a vision of what I want that to be and everything, but I do want to continue doing my collective channelings even as I'm kind of like shifting into being more unplugged myself. So I'll let y'all know when the Freakend Friday collective readings and just a lot more content from me starts going to a YouTube platform so that y'all can subscribe and stay up on that. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Grandma over here. Thank you to all of our honorable ancestors who were here with me talking to me today. I'm a little bit high and that makes me a little bit rambly, so I appreciate y'all for bearing with me. Thank you to my Oracle deck, which you can purchase on my website. And I love y'all very dearly. I so appreciate every single one of y'all who stays on and supports me. It helps me get through being shadow banned half the time and just all that. I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I love the community that we're building here and just how many dope Black queer folks I have the honor of knowing in this life through this platform and watching like thrive and lean into their spiritual wellness. I live for it. I love it. I love y'all a lot. Happy Friday. Enjoy your Freakend Friday. Quick little edit. So IG's anti-Black asses aren't even letting me upload the channeling. So I guess that's my nudge from spirit to start the YouTube channel today. So welcome to the Spiritual Abolitionist YouTube channel, where you will be receiving my guidance from now on. You can also book me or leave me a love offering for this reading at the links below.